Hello, Internet friend. Today on Value Side, Trump's tariffs in a world of floating exchange. I'm David Ravel. Well, perhaps the most regrettable aspect of our debates on public policy is our tendency to oversimplify. After all, much of the debate occurs in the media or on the Internet, where brevity is prized. Does it fit into a 30-second soundbite or a 180-charter tweet? The president is the master of the short-form communication. With his own social media website, Truth Social, he extols his policy prognostications. This has been especially true in his push for greater American tariffs. Tariffs, the president tells us, will bring back American manufacturing jobs, raise capital to run the government, and have a minimum impact on the consumer, all explained in 2 or 3 paragraphs. But could it be that there is another dimension to the imposition of tariffs, a dimension that the president is not revealing? Let's take a deeper dive into the ramifications of Trump's tariffs. The tariffs' impact on Washington. Now, when President Trump indicates that tariffs will bring additional revenue into the government's coffers, he's right. Essentially, this new tax will provide more funds for Washington. In fact, it's already doing so, to the tune of more than $100 billion in added income since its introduction in April. Score 1 for the president's tariffs. Tariff impacts on manufacturing jobs. The president has announced a number of offshore companies that will locate manufacturing facilities here in the U.S. No doubt the new tariffs contribute to those corporate decisions, but were likely not the only reason for these multi-billion-dollar deals. Shorter supply chain logistics was likely another factor in deciding for new plant locations. In any event, tariffs did not provide sufficient reason to make one company relocate its operations to America. Apple Computer, the U.S. company with the highest capitalization, decided on India, not the U.S., for its assembly plant, a blow to the tariffs' efforts to bring home jobs to America. So it's really mixed results for tariffs in terms of American jobs. Tariff impact on the consumer. Of all the debates surrounding tariffs, the impact on consumers is the most muddled. One side argues that tariffs will have little or no impact on the consumer because they don't really pay the tariffs. The importer pays the tariffs at the port. For instance, the car dealer will pay the tariff on imported Toyota automobiles at the Port of Los Angeles, or Walmart will pay the tariffs on Chinese-made goods where they are imported. This argument is especially specious, as those import tariffs are inevitably passed along to the end consumer, resulting in higher prices. Like the European value-added tax, no matter who pays the original tariff invoice, it's ultimately the end customer who pays the higher price. And tariffs will result in higher prices for the end customer. Tariffs in a floating exchange rate environment. The one argument that is entirely missing from the tariffs discussion is what impact American tariffs will have on the rest of the world. How are tariffs impacting countries that export their products to the American markets? While Canada, Mexico, and China remain the largest exporters to U.S. markets, dozens of other countries export a significant amount to the United States. A clear picture is beginning to emerge of just how the rest of the world is reacting to these new American tariffs, and it's not good for the American consumer. President Trump reminds us that tariffs have been a center point in his campaign for office and now as president. He may not have realized that not just Americans, but the rest of the world has been listening and preparing for the impact of American tariffs. Now, the last time the United States imposed tariffs in this significance was in the 1930s, a time when foreign exchange between international currencies was fixed. Back then, the U.S. dollar traded at a fixed rate tied to gold, and the currencies of our major trading partners did the same. Trading partners had few, if any, options to mitigate the impact of higher American tariffs. About the only thing they could do was to stop trading, which indeed the exporters did. The result, of course, was to amplify the worldwide trade slowdown, exacerbating the Great Depression. However, today all that's changed. The foreign exchange of currency, Forex, happens instantly. On a moment-by-moment basis, we can see how one currency, for example the dollar, trades against all the other world currencies. The U.S. Federal Reserve System tracks the dollar index against all other currencies. In January 2025, the month that Donald Trump was elected, the index hit an all-time high of 129.0. Since then, as the president has rolled out his tariff plan, the dollar has plunged, in Forex terms, by an astonishing 5.4%. That's a very big move in currency exchange, especially in just 6 months. Now, the first impact of this decline in international value of the dollar will be to lower the impact of tariffs for those offshore companies selling goods to the United States. Put simply, exporting companies have seen the new tariffs cut in half. The 5% decline in dollar value and subsequent 5% rise in their local currencies means that an average world good will only have to rise by 5% to meet Trump's new tariffs. However, this Forex decline in the dollar will have a dramatic impact on the American consumer. This 5% decline in global purchasing power of the dollar will combine with the 10% average Trump tariffs and result in a theoretical 15% rise in import prices at the U.S. stores. For you and I, the bottom line is the realization that we, the American consumer, will be the cumulative recipient of a combined U.S. tariff and Forex storm. And that's today's Value Side. For all of our articles and references, podcasts, visit valueside.com. I'm David Revell. ValueSide is independently written and researched. The views expressed are strictly my own.